Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is February 24th, 2025, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, U.S. markets tumble. Massive sell-off in the U.S., but first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So looking at the markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, we saw the U.S. dollar slide versus the major pairs uncharacteristically, because when the U.S. markets usually sell, the dollar gets stronger, but that did not happen. Now looking at the U.S. markets, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ sold aggressively. Now looking at commodities, gold remaining unchanged while oil retracing back to its supportish level. Now looking at the stocks, nothing was spared. Everything pretty much sold off. There was weak and weaker. That was what happened in the market on Friday. Now lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin remains unchanged. So let's take a look at markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here you go. First with the Euro USD. Now it is on resistance level. The dollar sliding, getting weaker versus the euro, which is uncharacteristic. Why is it uncharacteristic? Because usually when the financial markets sell off, the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ, the dollar goes higher. But it's doing not that, okay? Which is like what's going on here, all right? So for right now, we're at resistance level for the Euro USD. And looking at the GBP USD, slightly higher, Last week we had that push higher and it sustained it. Now it is stronger versus the US dollar than the euro is versus the US dollar. It's very important to note. Now looking at the Japanese yen, did slide down to its supportish level. This was the level that we were looking for, and we called it out last week. Look at the daily review. You'll see that I called it out. This is a super important level because this is previous support, and we may bounce off of it. If not, we're going to go back to our lows of 140 again, and that's something that we can consider as future. Now looking at gold, really unchanged here, while crude oil retraces to supportish level, okay, which is really a decent move. Now this is a great place to really pick it up. Now jumping into the US markets, you can see the massive sell-off in the Dow Jones, over 700 points, okay, which was nice booking right there. And looking at the NASDAQ, also nosediving over 400 to 500 points, okay, which is not so bad for the NASDAQ as well. Okay, now what sold off? Almost everything. However, look at certain things, okay? Microsoft did not sell off that much, okay? Didn't break its supportish level, whereas we saw some of the biggest players, some of the ones that moved the highest, okay, that we've seen, like Facebook, okay, had a nosedive. What else had a nosedive? Amazon had a nosedive. Tremendous sell-off there. JP Morgan, tremendous sell-off there from 280 down to 264. So there's weak, there's weaker, and there's really not trading, okay? That's basically where we're at. Now, I do anticipate a bounce. The question is, how much of a bounce are we going to get today? And that's what you're going to have to make a list of all the stocks that are strong or not so strong and see which ones, engage them. Sometimes it happens that the ones that got beaten up the worst are the ones that go back up the highest, okay? They bounce the highest because there's so much short covering in it as well. So keep that in mind. Now, Intel also retracing last week after decent earnings, right? If you look at the daily, it's not bad. It's holding above its 200-day moving average, even though it sold off. Now, lastly, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Really unchanged, trading sideways, not doing much here as it's consolidating in this area. So what should I expect today? No major economic events scheduled for today, so keep that in mind. We may see a bounce today as a correctional move to last week's sell-off. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.